All right, guys, big thanks to Gary again for sending over a watch that I probably otherwise would not be able to see. This is the Accutron Astronaut, or the T. This is a limited edition reissue from 1968. And obviously modern materials used, some changes, big changes. But still kind of looks very similar to the original model. It's a very good retro-inspired watch. Love the lug and case design on this thing. Not a huge fan of the price, but I typically don't complain about that too much. The retail price on this is $3,500. Has a really nice presentation box. It does have a Swiss movement, all that good stuff. It's the Sellita SW330. It is a GMT no date movement in this thing. Kind of a interesting design. Well, let's get into the case size on this thing. The case is 39.4 millimeter. The bezel is 41 mil, so you can kind of see how it's shaped there. The lug to lug is a very short, 43.75 mil. And they're actually really short lugs too. Great bracelet though. The watch is 13.6 millimeter, including that bubbled up crystal and domed. I believe it is sapphire. Am I wrong in that? Does it say? Yeah, sapphire crystal, 100-meter water resist on this guy. Just a partial display case back. The lug width here, I think I measured at 20 millimeter. The bracelet does taper slightly to 18. Speaking of the bracelet, check that out. It's beveled cut or angled on the ends. A nice touch of detail. Really matches the watch. It's a very good pairing of the bracelet and the case design on this thing. So very small, 5.6 millimeter crown. It is a push-pull crown. And here's a look at that case back. This is number 233 of only 300. This one's hard to get good pictures on. There's a lot of glare. The Accutron kind of looks like it's almost like printed on top of the dial. It's pretty wild. And I can't tell for sure, but it almost gives the vibe of the dial like angling down. I don't know if it's the crystal that gives it that effect, or if the hands are actually bent down like the minute hand. I mean, see that? It looks like it's kind of bent down toward the edge of the dial, curves down potentially. It's hard to tell if it actually does that or not, or if it's just an optical illusion. You have a friction fit bezel. It has an aluminum bezel insert. Yeah, the retail price on this thing's $3,500. And I was talking to the owner, Gary, about, because he sent it in for the Sunday Fun Day stuff. And I'm like, man, these kind of take a hit. I was doing a little bit of research on them. And yeah, they take a little bit of a hit on the resale, unfortunately, which is weird because 300 watches, I know, is a very small number, but it's all relative depending on the demand of the particular watch. 1968, if people like retro-inspired watches, or maybe they had one, or maybe a relative had one and gave it to them and it got lost or something like that, so they want to kind of replace it with a modern interpretation and be able to wear it. There's a lot of different potential buyers, I think, in this category. But yeah, that's the problem with being a serial flipper. Sometimes they just take a hit. What is it going to go for on the secondary market? I think probably less than $2,000. And it's a very fun, cool watch, and insanely comfortable on wrist. Still pretty legible. It's not the best for legibility, but it does pretty dang good. It's insanely comfortable on wrist. This bracelet is amazing. Let's give it a quick blast with the UV light. Let me turn off the studio lights and see what kind of low light glow this thing has. Not bad, not bad. I like the staggered effect that they did there with the markers. So the markers that are on the far perimeter are going to be your, standard ones, and then those inboard ones are going to be your 30, or, the in between. Pretty wild looking. I dig it. I like the kind of fully loomed seconds hand too. It's pretty fun. You would think the arrow tip on it would be loomed, but they actually loomed the hand structure itself. Pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next vid.